talking about it. I talked about the story of the Tylenol murders. It was about to break. A Chicago stockbroker who's still not named publicly, a dummy front in Chicago, an import-export business, and Mr. Lewis, a tax consultant. There's somebody in Chicago very high up and well-known who's involved with the Tylenol murders and the Tylenol scandals, which I believe and know is an international thing, going to Southeast Asia and India with Mr. Lewis's offices. He's been charged with writing an extortion note, but he hasn't been charged with any of the murders, even though he was once charged with murdering a friend of the family, and he got off of that one. That's still wide open and it hasn't been solved. Colin Chapman had just been murdered, 54 years old. The designer of racing cars died in England, founder of the Lotus Car Company. He was part of the development of Delorean cars. Right after John Delorean was arrested, Colin Chapman died, and they were involved with the Panamanian company, the funds paid by Panama from the Panamanian banks into Swiss banks. And with Mr. Chapman dead, Colin Chapman dead, they've been looking for a year for the money that went from Panama into the Swiss banks that he helped John Delorean with designing the car. He was killed, and a whole year later there's still a mystery there. And I'm sure that the reason he had to die was because he would know the answers to some of those questions they're not ready for. Also, the anti-terrorism plan for the LA Olympics, the big discussion of the Delta Blue Light team is poised in readiness, sent from Fort Bragg, North Carolina, with Mr. Colonel Charles Beckwith in charge. He's the fellow that made such a disaster out of the Iranian crisis. And there was an article of Mr. Beckwith in the paper just this last Sunday, yesterday, saying that his suggestion for hostages to kill them all, that he'd shoot them on the spot and kill them all. That's the way he would do it if they have a hostage crisis at the Olympics in Los Angeles. If they want money, give an airplane, and when it goes up, blow them up. Well, the CIA and the Los Angeles Police Department and the COINTEL program and the Defense Department could have a coup whereby we lose all our freedoms, and they can kill the hostage on the spot that caused the martial law, and then kill him, and then we won't ever know the true story of how we are losing our freedoms. The same way that you hired Jack Ruby, a few days or a week ahead, and he's to have a contract to kill somebody on a certain day, like Sunday, and then he panics when he realizes it's part of the Kennedy assassination. The story of killing them on the spot is very treacherous. Ed Davis, when he was chief of police, he's now a senator in California, wanted a guillotine, or Evel Younger wanted a gallows with a rope hanging, not a guillotine, the rope at the airport. If there's a hijacker, you hang him right on the spot. Well, the hijacking brought a series of searches and invasions of privacy. Suspect that we're going to take planes off in every airport, so that you can't get to a plane without going through this all of the time and being held up and going through bags. And a good percentage of the hostages were provocateurs.